Hi everyone, welcome to the first video of a series of videos conducted by TCS Online in lieu of the upcoming management case study examinations happening in May and August 2022. So there are 4 videos in total, and in the first video, which is this video, I will be providing an introduction into the pre-scene, and on top of that conducting an industry analysis. In the second and third videos, I will be talking about company operations, looking at what happens within the company, what happens within various different departments, and talking about the ethos when it comes to leadership and value creation initiatives carried out by the company. And in the fourth and final video, I will be taking you through the financial statements of piping as well as its closest competitor, thereby carrying out a financial analysis. All right, so let's look at the introduction. So this time's pre-scene is based on a company called Piping Beverages, or simply the examiner will be calling this company Piping. Piping is a quoted company that manufactures packaged tea for sale to retailers. So this is a manufacturing company, and on top of that, Piping is a quoted company. What are they manufacturing? They are manufacturing packaged tea for sale to retailers. So this company is a B2B business. They are not involved with B2C transactions. Instead, they are involved with B2B business. Okay. So as a manufacturer, certain key areas can be tested in your exam. So P2 focus, cost management techniques can be tested. Okay. And on top of that, since the considered company is a quoted company, some key areas which can be tested are with regards to fluctuations in share price and how it affects investor confidence, stakeholder management, because as a quoted company, we have to deal with a multitude of stakeholders. So at the MCS level, you need to know how to manage different types of stakeholders appropriately. As a quoted company, we have to adhere to corporate governance regulations. Then segmental reporting can be tested. IAS 33 earnings per share or EPS can be tested. And on top of that, when we are acquiring another company, then in such a context, or when we are going for a certain investment, financing options can be tested. All right. And Piping buys tea that it buys the tea that it uses in bulk on the open market. Okay. So what we can identify based on this information is we are not into manufacturing tea on our own using our own factories. What we are involved with, what Piping is involved with, is they bring in tea, they import tea from developing countries, import the raw material, the tea leaves. We are involved with packaging these tea leaves and selling it to our retail outlets. So that's what you need to remember. We are purchasing tea on bulk, packaging it and selling it to retail parties. Piping is based in Northlandia, a developed country that has a strong economy and whose citizens have a high standard of living. Okay, so all these things highlights that there's a considerable level of opportunity for us to grow the business, because it's better to operate in a developed country. It's better to operate within a strong economy. It's better to deal with consumers who are experiencing a high standard of living, because their disposable income levels will be high. So in such a context, any given company will find it easy to operate in such an economy or such a country. So the currency is the N dollar, and the country uses International Financial Reporting Standards, or IFRS. So that's pretty basic, as covered in F2. Okay, and you are the finance manager at Piping's head office. So you are supposed to play the role of a finance manager, and you are supposed to report to your senior finance manager, Channa De Silva. So note that you can be required to address any issues within the scope of P2 F2 or E2 syllabi for examination purposes, regardless of the job description. So you need to have a good understanding about E2, P2 and F2 content, especially if you're coming through the FLP route. All right, so let's move on to the industry analysis. So the examiner has highlighted about industry dynamics. So I would actually suggest you to refer to TCS's industry analysis pack in order to gain more insights and guidance on industry dynamics, because we had created the industry analysis pack taking into consideration the real facts and figures in from the we have taken real facts and figures from the tea industry, and we had provided real life examples as well, so that you can better understand the industry dynamics, which will be extremely beneficial when you are decrypting the pre-scene as well as when you are providing answers in your real exam. So having said that, let's move on with the industry analysis. So first things first, the examiner gives you an indication of what tea is about, the definition of tea. Okay, so if there if there are any flavored teas, or any type of tea which is infused with some other natural ingredient, that is not considered as tea as per the examiner. All references to tea in this document will be products and drinks made from Camellia sinensis leaves. So Camellia sinensis leaves, any type of a product manufactured using Camellia sinensis leaves or tea leaves are considered as tea in this pre-scene. So you need to remember that. Camellia sinensis shrub is grown commercially in South Asian and East African countries. Okay, so the 5 major tea exporters are China, Sri Lanka, Kenya, India, and Poland. So our company might be purchasing from these individuals. Okay, so as I told you earlier, we are not involved with growing tea. Instead, we are importing tea from tea manufacturing countries. So these are the top 5 manufacturers or top 5 players in the industry. The leaves are harvested by plantation workers. Okay, and the leaves are then processed using 2 main methods to produce 2 different types of tea. So the examiner gives us an indication about the harvesting process, and according to the given information, 2 main products are created using the tea leaves which are harvested. So product number 1 is black tea. Black tea is sometimes referred to as made tea or dry tea. And the second product category is green tea. The leaves are not processed further, and so they remain green. So black tea is particularly popular within the European regions, and green tea is popular especially in the Asian region. If you consider countries such as China, there is a huge demand for green tea in that country. There is some further processing at the plantation. So, we are not involved with plantation, but the examiner gives us an insight into what happens within the plantation. There is some further processing which occurs at the plantation, depending on whether the leaves are to be sold to make loose tea or tea bags. So the examiner is giving us a hint that when it comes to packaging tea, there are 2 main categories, loose tea and tea bags. And based on the type of product which we are supposed to sell, the manufacturing process or the processing is different to each other. With many tea growing countries operating tea auctions, which enables manufacturers to bid against one another. Yes, so there are so many tea growing countries, and when it comes to selling their crop, what they do is nobody can directly purchase tea leaves from a tea factory. Instead, you have to get in touch with the tea auction of a certain country and bid against your competitors and purchase your produce. So that's how the tea purchasing process works. You need to go through an auction. You can't directly purchase from tea manufacturing factories. Black tea leaves from different countries have different flavors. and flavors can also be affected by the plantation where they are grown. Manufacturers must keep the particular flavor of their tea blends and will often bid for leaves from specific plantations. Okay, so this gives us an indication about the demand and supply, or the purchasing process within the industry. Demand and supply will dictate the prices of tea from specific plantations. Piping should be in the lookout for range of options with regards to procurement of tea, and also be prepared for competitive bidding. So we have to be involved with carrying out a competitive bidding process, or else we will not receive high quality tea at a reasonable price. And on top of that, we have to always forecast about price movements, the demand and supply for tea, because based on the demand and supply for tea, the price moves up and down. So we have to be always considerate about the demand and supply for tea. So the examiner has given us an indication about the tea prices as well. So we can see that the tea prices are in the range of 1.5 in dollars per kilo to 2.75 in dollars per kilo approximately. And since 2019, we can see there that the tea price per kilogram has been decreasing. Okay, so the overall reduction in tea prices is considered to be favorable for tea manufacturers like piping. So when the tea price in the world market is decreasing, or the tea price, tea is the raw material, so when the tea leaf price is decreasing in the market, it is actually beneficial for us as a manufacturer. So that can be considered, the dropping price levels can be considered as an opportunity for tea manufacturers. And appreciation of the N dollar against the currencies of the suppliers will also result in lower tea prices when denominated in N dollars. So if our currency appreciates again, it will be beneficial for us, because our tea prices will decrease. Tea prices denoted in N dollars will decrease. So that's what you need to remember. Then let's have a look at the tea manufacturing process. Tea manufacturers import tea leaves. Yes, so tea manufacturers. So we all this time we were talking about the plantation sector. What happens within plantations? What happens when individuals are involved with growing tea leaves? However, now we are looking at tea manufacturing, the tea manufacturing sector, and we are part of the tea manufacturing sector. So the examiner is highlighting industry dynamics which are actually relevant for piping. So tea manufacturers import tea leaves, and then they are blended and packaged ready for sale to retailers. So we import the raw material, blend different types of tea leaves so that the required tastes are achieved, or the required quality is achieved. After blending, we package it, and these packaged products are sold to retailers at the end. So as an importer, IAS 21, effects of changes in foreign exchange rates can be tested. Definitely it will be tested. And on top of that, we are involved with, as a tea manufacturer, piping is involved with creating value to the raw material. So P2 related area pertaining to value chain can be tested at your exam. Each batch of black tea has a slightly different flavor. Tea manufacturers deal with that by employing skilled blenders to take samples from each batch of tea leaves under lab conditions. So the examiner is giving us giving us some information about important stakeholders involved within the tea manufacturing business. So who are these stakeholders, important stakeholders? They are known as blenders, tea blenders, or in other terms, they are known as tea tasters as well. So these tasters are the people, the blenders are the individuals who deals with the quality of tea. Okay, so the tasters note the precise flavor characteristics of each batch and determine a blend from different batches that will create a consistent flavor associated with their particular brand or brands of tea. So these guys determine, these tasters determine the blend, the taste of, as well as the quality of each batch of tea which we are packaging. So it's of utmost importance that we get the blending process right. It is of utmost importance that we recruit specialists to carry out these roles. If not, our customers would end up getting dissatisfied, because if we cannot live up to the quality, the reputation pertaining to quality, if we cannot maintain the same taste per blend, then we will end up losing revenues. So as I told you earlier, we have to focus on getting the best, recruiting the best tea tasters out there. If we do that, we are spending money on preventing quality. So quality focus, or P2 focus pertaining to costs of quality can be connected to this fact. The mix of leaves from different sources varies slightly according to the flavors of each batch of leaves. So the flavor could be different according to the batch, but the tea that is sold should always taste the same. So when we are getting different batches coming from different countries, the tastes could be totally different, a bit different to each other. However, it's the job of the blenders to blend different types of tea and come up with a finalized blend that tastes the same. So the customers are looking for a standardized taste, and blenders are supposed to look after that. Tea is sold to consumers in different forms. So after all this blending and packaging is done, we sell tea in different forms to customers. We sell it in 4 forms, actually, not us. Actually, the players in the industry sell it in 4 different forms. Form number 1 is loose tea. Loose tea leaves are sold in packs, and these loose tea packets are generally made with high quality tea leaves, and each cup of tea requires roughly 3 grams of loose tea leaves. And the second product category is with regards to tea bags. Tea bags are made by enclosing loose tea in small bags of porous material. The bags are usually made from paper, plastic, or gauze. Okay, so that's another product category. Tea bags require the leaves to be ground more finely at the plantation. So, relative to the loose tea, tea bags need further processing, because you need to grind it better than loose tea, so that you can package it within a tea bag. A typical tea bag contains 1.5 grams of tea leaves. So you need to remember the manufacturing process, as well as the content of each cup of tea is different when it comes to loose tea and tea bags. Then there are teapots as well, the third type of product category sold within the industry. The pods, these are known as teapods. Teapods are sealed plastic containers that are designed to fit in the same machines that are used to make coffee from coffee pods. Machines requires pods that are made to accommodate its unique shape. So just like you use a coffee pod on your coffee machine, you can say, use the teapot. The only thing which you need to focus on is your coffee machine should have the capability to accommodate your teapot, the shape of your teapot. The consumers insert a pod into a machine before consumption. That's pretty basic. Then the fourth type of product are considered as ready to drink tea products. Tea is sold in bottles that are intended to be consumed as chilled drinks. In other terms, you call it iced tea as well. Okay, so based on these 4 product categories, a possible exam scenario can be highlighted with regards to new product development. There could be a scenario in the exam where piping is introducing one of these product offerings which is not in its existing portfolio. So in the second and third videos, I will be talking about company operations, and after going through these two videos, video number 2 and 3, you would figure out that we are not offering all 4 product categories. We are primarily focusing on loose teas and tea bags. So there could be a situation where we are developing a new product, thereby introducing teapods or ready to drink tea drinks to the market. Okay, so that's a possible exam scenario. Okay, so the examiner then gives us an indication about how tea is consumed by various different individuals. Tea is second only to water as the most widely consumed drink in the world. So this shows us that tea is extremely popular across the world, which gives us a significant opportunity to grow our sales, because rather than focusing on one single market, since the entire world is hell-bent on drinking tea, might as well exploit that opportunity. So that's an opportunity at our disposal. North Londonians consume an average of 1.9 kilos of tea per person each year, putting them near the top of the global rankings. North India is one of 8 countries where the annual average consumption exceeds 1 kilo per person. So this shows that there is a strong demand within the local market for tea consumption, which is a significant opportunity for piping, because we are a tea manufacturing company, and we can make a lot of sales by selling it to North Indian, selling our products to North Indian customers, because they are heavily dependent on drinking tea on a daily basis. Tea drinking is deeply rooted in many national cultures as well. Okay, this is a key consideration which we need to focus on when selecting new international markets for expansion. Yes, there could be a possible exam scenario where the company is considering to expand into a new market. In such a context, before expanding, it is better to understand the tea culture in the other country. Now, for instance, as I told you earlier, Europeans like black tea and the Chinese like green tea. So if we are moving into China or a certain Asian region in close vicinity to China, there's absolutely no point if we try to sell black tea, because these consumers do not like it. So in such a context, we need to end up selling green tea to them. Okay, so we have to understand when expanding to other countries, we have to understand national cultures, and our product offering, our marketing campaigns, our branding needs to be aligned with these cultural dynamics. If not, our expansion imperatives are gonna fail. Tea contains caffeine, which makes it refreshing. Tea is hydrating. It helps the body to keep body to store fluids and increases the body's defense against a number of serious illnesses. So these are the many health benefits an individual can gain by consuming tea, which can be considered as an opportunity for a tea manufacturer like us. All right, then the examiner gives us an indication about sales data, the actual sales data as well as forecasts. So as you can see, there has been a small dip in 2019. However, it is forecasted to grow. The sales revenue is forecasted to grow into the future. So that shows that there's considerable potential for growth, which is an opportunity for a tea manufacturer. And again, the examiner is talking about cultural differences. Black tea is very popular in some countries and green tea is preferred in others, just like what I said a while back. The relative popularities in tea bags versus loose tea also varies significantly. Yes, so just like consumers, prefer black tea over green tea and vice versa, certain consumers are hell-bent on purchasing loose tea, and a certain set of consumers want their tea in tea bags. A clear understanding of cultural differences will be a key factor in ensuring the success of new market entries. Again, I've highlighted that. All right, so now I'm moving on to the reference material or the reading material, so that you would better understand the contents as part of an industry analysis. All right, so I'm going to take you through the reading material, which is provided at the very end of your pre-scene. What you need to understand is through this reading material, the examiner is providing you with additional information, and the examiner is actually giving you certain hints about possible scenarios which can be tested in your real exam. So it's better to understand the nitty-gritties pertaining to this reference material. So the first article taken from the Northlandia Business Daily is about botanists and how they contribute to different types of industries. Botanist is involved with the study of plants, and botany is now becoming increasingly important in a variety of industries. So the examiner had given us information pertaining to different industries which are using the services offered by botanists. So likewise, the tea industry can benefit immensely by employing botanists, and there could be a possible scenario where we are considering to employ botanists. Okay, so the same can assist in the manufacturing of tea, just like botanists are, helping other industries. And the use of modern science introduced by botanists, especially when it comes to coming up with different types of tea variants, tea shrubs, and on top of that, different tasting tea shrubs, and likewise, tea shrubs with containing different quality levels. All these things. When developing new tea shrubs, we can make use of the services offered by botanists. Okay, right. Then the second article is taken from the Northlandia Daily News, and this article highlights the benefits of as well as the drawbacks of consuming tea as well as caffeine. So this is a column which is maintained by a doctor. So this doctor says that patients often ask me whether tea is healthier than coffee. She is saying that both drinks have their health benefits and their health risks. Both are rich both are rich sources of antioxidants that protect the human body from all sorts of diseases. So that's a benefit. If you look at tea and coffee, both can be considered as antioxidants. Both contain caffeine, which is a stimulant. So these are the benefits of consuming tea. A moderate caffeine intake can also reduce the risk of certain diseases. So these are the benefits which you gain by consuming tea. However, caffeine can prove harmful to some people, particularly when consumed to excess, because it can cause anxiety, irregular heartbeat, raise blood pressure, and can disrupt sleep patterns. So these are the drawbacks of drinking tea, because tea has caffeine content. A small number of people are sensitive to caffeine and will have a reaction that is similar to an allergic reaction if they consume even a small amount. So there are a small set of customers or consumers who are allergic to caffeine. So because of that, they cannot consume tea or coffee. The main health risks associated with excessive intake of caffeine through the consumption of tea and coffee are highlighted in here. And the doctor says that it is difficult to claim that one is healthier than the other. And she also says that it is possible to buy decaf tea and tea and coffee that have been processed to remove most of the caffeine. This requires a chemical process to be applied. Decaf means that there is a very low level of caffeine within the drink. So there's a possible new product development a venture which we can invest in with regards to decaf tea, providing decaf tea. If we, as a company, if piping starts selling decaf tea, we will be opening our doors to a niche market. And on top of that, nobody within the country none of the tea manufacturers within the country are offering decaf tea at the moment. So in such a context, we can start producing and introducing decaf tea, so that we change the market dynamics. We have been an innovator previously. You'd understand these things when you look at video numbers 2 and 3, and sticking to that brand reputation, we can come up with a new product category to the market. Right. The third article is taken from Happy Comics. So, kids had raised some questions. The tea bag or the tea manufacturing companies are providing solutions or answers to the questions raised by these kids. So one of the kids are asking, how difficult is it to fill all those tiny bags with just the right amount of tea? How do they do that? So the examiner gives us a hint about the manufacturing process. So we use machinery to do this because people wouldn't be able to keep up with production. So we can see that the tea manufacturers adopt a highly mechanized production system, and people who work in the factory are there to check the machinery. So we have manual labor as well. However, they are not involved with production operations directly. Instead, they are playing a supervisory role to figure out whether the tea manufacturing process or the highly mechanized process runs in the most efficient manner. Then the second question is with regards to the content of tea bags, or the how tea bags are made. Tea bags are made out of paper and they can be dunked in boiling water for ages. How is this possible? So the answer is tea bags use the paper that is made from fibers taken from banana leaves. So if that is the case, if we are taking fibers taken from the banana leaf, then it's extremely environment friendly. Some companies add plastic to the paper to make their tea bags stronger. So if we adopt something like that, we might have to face some legal issues as well as certain ethical issues. So we should avoid the use of plastic within tea bags at all costs. Another question is highlighted. I said that peppermint tea is a type of tea. My teacher said that I should have referred to it as peppermint infusion. Most retailers, so the answer is most retailers sell boxes of peppermint tea as well as many other drinks that are called tea. So most retailers are selling, infused, products as tea. However, only the leaves of Camellia sinensis shrub and the drink that those leaves are used to make it should be described as tea. I highlighted that point at the inception of this pre-scene analysis video. Products made from different plants should be called infusions. So please remember that. The examiner is highlighting that products made from different plants, combining different plants, not just Camellia sinensis, but when you infuse other types of plants, you should not call it tea. Instead, you have to call it tea infusions or infusions simply. And another question is mentioned: why don't they grow valuable crops such as wheat on tea plantations? So the answer is the best tea leaves are grown high up in mountain regions. And the examiner gives us a hint about how tea is plucked or tea is picked. Harvesting tea is an ongoing and labor-intensive process. Tea pickers work their way along rows of shrubs and pluck the fresh growth of leaves from the top. So we are using the services of tea pluckers or tea pickers. So plantation workers are used and they are playing a crucial role in ensuring that tea factories receive fresh and properly grown tea leaves. As noted previously, concerns remain over the labor and ethical standards maintained by plantations over these workers. So most of these plantations are in the developing countries, and because of that, these plantation owners are well known for exploiting these laborers. They are not paid really well. Their work conditions are not too good. Their living conditions are bad, because most of the time the tea pluckers live on the premises of the tea plantation. So the plantation owners provide shelter to these guys who are working there, and the accommodation provided, or the services provided, are uh, actually below standard. So all these things might expose us to ethical or legal issues if we, for instance, if we source from a plantation which exploits its laborers. All right, so that being said, it brings us to the end of the first video. So in this video, I provided an introduction into the pre-scene, and on top of that, I focused on an industry analysis. And at the very end, I took you through the additional reading material provided as well. I would actually again highlight the fact that you should go through the industry analysis pack which we had prepared, so that you can better understand the industry dynamics within the considered industry. So this is the end of the first video. As I told you earlier, there are 3 more videos. In the second and third videos, I will be talking about company operations, and in the final video, I will be taking you through the financial statements, thereby conducting a financial analysis. Thank you.